And scene swap ahead of schedule because I was fiddling with the scenes in like the first 12 seconds of the stream before I started. Also, hello. Welcome in. It's not a special mask off stream tonight. We're not doing the whole list of topics thing that I usually do. I'm just going to chat. I'm just going to sit here and talk, and if you have anything you want to bring up, bring it up. There was something mentioned in the Discord actually that has caught my attention. Has definitely caught my attention. That I may have to do a little bit of a react to, possibly. Do I want to do another Isaac Butterfield video? Because we did an Isaac Butterfield video a little while ago. That was a pretty good stream, pretty fun stream. Now, there's a video of the trans community calling him a liar, according to you, Fox. Link to this. I am interested. I am tempted to click that video and see where we go with it. See where that leads us. I am curious. I am innately curious. But yeah, I am obviously late to stream today. I didn't have any plans for stream today as it was, because today was pretty busy. In general. I've got a new bed, apparently. My sister has given up her old single bed and ordered herself a nice big double bed, or queen bed, or whatever it is. And as a result, I have inherited the single bed, and now I have the daunting task of getting rid of the old queen size bed that I've got. So now I've got to go and sell that, move the single bed in, and then fingers crossed in the not too distant future, I will actually be able to have my whole desk and streaming set up in my bedroom instead of the way it is now. Because I've been wanting to put my desk in there for a while. Have that mostly as an office that I just happen to sleep in. That's the goal, right? But as of right now, I am still here in like, basically I've got a living room and it's split down the middle and it's a bit of a pain in the ass. But anyway, hello, welcome in. Welcome in. I've got some Moscato and Sauv Blanc here. That's not bad. That's basically just regular Moscato. I don't know what the difference is. I'm not a wine connoisseur. Maybe you're supposed to sniff it? Are you supposed to sniff this kind of wine, or is it not the sniffing kind? Is it not the sniffing kind of wine? I don't know. I don't know how wines work. I know there's a whole culture around wine tasting and wine testing. I don't know what exactly the civilization there is. Not 100% familiar with it. But yeah, I had no specific plans for today's stream. No explicit plans for today's stream. Because today was just too busy. But I really wanted to get some... some topics rattled off, but now I don't have any. Now I don't have anything to talk about. I hate that. It feels like after the transition, not that transition, but the other transition, away from primarily gaming streams to more just chatting focused streams, I now have to have topics on my mind to talk about. Which I do. I have topics in my head, but they're all a jumbled mess, and that's what I'm going to try to get through today. I'm going to try to rattle off a few ideas if I can, and empty my head of certain thoughts. Because we went out to dinner tonight. We went out to have Indian food. And it occurred to me, how much of a privilege that is. That, especially just living in a multicultural society like Australia, how much we take for granted the fact that we have access to these dishes that are primarily from other cultures. Whereas there are some parts of the world where they literally just have only the food that they are accustomed to, or even perhaps worse, the only food they have is particularly limited on purpose. Because, say for example, I don't know what the dietary situation is in North Korea, but I imagine it's not great, knowing everything that we know about North Korea, for example. Whereas over here, of course in Australia, things are a fair bit different. And we have access to Chinese restaurants, Indian restaurants, a whole ton of American fast food, of course. We did have curry. We had butter chicken and... what was the other one? I forget what the other one was. Something with beef. I forget what exactly it was. But... and then, there was a couple of different types of rice. One of the dishes was like a mild spice, and the other one was supposed to be hot. But quite frankly, the mild one was really mild, and the hot one was medium. It wasn't really all that spicy. Didn't really do a whole lot for me, so that's, pretty reasonable, I guess. But yeah, I was thinking about that during dinner. Maybe it's like not something you should bring up while you're having a nice night out. It's like, oh, we're such privileged little shits being able to go out and enjoy Indian food. When there are probably some Indian people whose entire diet might consist of like oats and rice and nothing else. There are some people who are living in exceptional poverty on a widespread social scale, further away, like out of sight, out of mind to a lot of people. And I was thinking on that. Of course, I don't know the specifics, and of course, different cultures have different dietary concerns, have different ways of preparing their food, different cultural leanings towards their food. But there are literally situations where some people will get a bowl of rice for a day or something like that, and that's it. And that's awful. On the topic of wine, hello Jacinta, how you doing? Know a teensy bit about it from working in licensed restaurants, but you don't like yourself. That's a bit of a heavy topic. Not a connoisseur either. Is my stream buggering up again? I bet it is. It seems like it's buggering up again. I think I need to go ahead and reset my modem soon or something. But anyway, how are you doing? How was your... Think of the starving children in Africa. That's what I'm getting at. I'm being very, very subtle. By the way, I added some filters to my mic. I added a noise gate and a noise suppressor. I'm going to bring the microphone in just a little bit and see if that makes it clearer. I don't know. Does the microphone audio quality sound good tonight, or is it worse? Have I made it worse? I was considering maybe retrying RTX voice, but I'm not 100% certain that I tried it before and it just ended up making the audio quality sound really lackluster, and I'm not a fan of that. I would rather the audio quality to be crisp, and unfortunately, like if you start adding filters or you start trying out RTX voice and things like that, it has a tendency to mess with the audio fidelity. So you cut out all that background noise, but the audio fidelity goes down. Hey Batch, how's it going? What's the news? What's happening? There's a thing I want to look at. Fox linked a Isaac Butterfield video, an Isaac Butterfield video in my Discord, and it's about the trans community, and I am interested. I'm intrigued. I'm curious. Do I click it? Do we react to it? You don't like what I know what you mean. I'm mostly a fan of these sugary sweet wines. I'm not a person who is going to go out and try actual Sauv Blanc, because I've tried Sauv Blanc and I hated it. You're doing good. I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad to hear it. Do I click on this video or do I leave it? There's also a Wang video. Wang's always a good watch, but he's not the kind of content I would react to on stream. And as you can see, I don't have my username. I don't have a title up here. We are going to be reworking things pretty soon. When I take my break, I'm going to rejig a few things, and I'm going to create a scene that's very similar to this one. I already mentioned I'm going to move myself from this spot over to here. So I'll be over on the side here. And we're going to have space over here for a screen. And we'll have a mask off logo up here. And title space across this section. But I've been lazy and haven't bothered to orchestrate any of that. And I've considered just like maybe doing a pixel art stream. I could just show you, like, as I try to build the mask off logo, the logo for the show. How am I deep within... full of Indian food. We had a lot tonight. It was quite good. Recently purchased a dual monitor mount. Ooh, fancy. Fancy. I wouldn't mind a dual monitor mount. I've got two monitors. And the annoying thing about these two monitors is they are offset by like a millimeter. They are, if I set them to the exact same height, they are off by a millimeter for some reason. I cannot figure why that is, but they are slightly askew. And I would like to be able to take them off their stands that they have presently and put them onto a mount that is, you know, that keeps them aligned. It's so frustrating to look at. And my camera is mounted like right between the two of the monitors. So you got like both the monitors here like this. So just part of the microphone stand, sorry. And the camera is sitting like right, it's like positioned on top of the monitors at the very top. So if my camera ever looks like 1 degree diagonal, I could just do this. Look, there we go. I could do that. That's a good camera angle, isn't it? I could do this. But if my camera ever looks slightly diagonal, you'll know why. That's the reason. Reluctantly, unfortunately, that's the situation we're in right now. Your main monitor is your AOC monitor. I've got AOC. Both of mine are AOC. Second is a BenQ. BenQ is taller and a different size. I couldn't do that. If I ever get another monitor, and I hope I do, I really want it to specifically be another one of these monitors. Because I am a sucker for consistency. And I cannot afford to buy another monitor. But if I ever have to, I'm going to try to get this exact same one. I don't care if it's outdated. But I really particularly want to keep everything the same if I can. I want to keep everything as consistent as possible. So if I have to end up in a situation where I need where I either need a replacement or if I want to add another one to my setup, I'm gonna have to get the exact same monitor. I wonder if it's still available on M-Wave. Was it M-Wave that I ordered from? I might not have been, actually. Have a look. Have a look. Your current connection has triggered our security challenge. Please complete the challenge below to continue. I triggered their security challenge. Please click each image containing a boat. Okay. What? Is that a boat? That looks like a boat. Does that count as a boat? That counts as a boat. It's on water. It's a boat. The fuck? That's unusual. Okay. Let's have a look at monitors. Curved. Can I search by AOC? Let's search by AOC. So I think mine is the 23.5 inch curved monitor. 23.6. That doesn't look like it. Maybe that is it. That does look like the same. It does look like the same general setup, but maybe it's just they use the same mic stand, same monitor stand. 27 inch. It's 23.5. It's definitely, or 23.6. I'm sure it's 23.5. Hang on. Can I go like, does that work? Specs? No, that's the PC. And also my accessories thing is out of date. It's got my old Master Keys MK750 keyboard. That's not what I'm using. I'm using a Corsair K68 at the moment. I need to update that. Does it say it there? I can't see it. Mouse. Display. There we go. AOC 23.6 curved FreeSync. So that is the one. That one. $289. I can't believe I have two of these fucking things. Jesus Christ. That is far too much money. Can you imagine spending like if I were to go 4 monitors. Let's go 4 monitors. We'll have 2 here. 2 on top. Go crazy with it. That'd be over $1,000 on screens. Who needs that many screens? I'll never understand. Like I occasionally will see. You'll occasionally see these like big YouTubers or big streamers who've got these like 9 monitor setups and shit like that. It's like, what do you need all those monitors for? What are you doing with all those screens? What do you need them for? What's the purpose of this? What's the reason behind this exercise? I don't understand. I just bumped the mic again. Sorry. I'm trying not to bump the mic. I promise. I'm really trying. But I'm absolutely failing today. So let me think. Yeah, so let me think. But yeah, 1K on monitors. I could see it happening though. Damn, Alter Kermit, what's going on? Who am I? Well, usually my name is up there. But I took away the, I mean, I can just literally go to this particular scene. And I can just, oh, oops, that's the wrong one. I can just like turn on my promo image. There we go. That's the actual username. But now the clouds have stopped and the background's boring. If I do that, now the clouds have stopped. But that should tell you my username, my name, Rogue Bitch. Send Bob's and Vagine, not for free. God no. You kidding me? Not for free. I charge a the wine's hitting me. Charge a premium for that shit. Charge fat stacks of cash for that shit, like $69 per month, bare minimum. Gender reveal. Oh god, the wine is hitting me a little bit. I just wanted to sit here and ramble. God, gender reveal parties are. I was thinking about how stupid those are today. Because, like, you know, obviously I'm a big proponent of the idea that gender and sexuality are very, very fluid concepts that we as a society have very narrowly defined the most acceptable ones. The most acceptable circumstances, right? Wherein everybody else, anyone who falls outside that predetermined narrow framework, is explicitly ousted and treated as lesser and such and such and such and such. And I was thinking about how obscene and insane it is that we see a child's genitalia when they're born and then immediately assign them a cultural role based on their physiology, which is really bizarre to me. It's like if your kid's born and you immediately slap a tag, like you know that how they punch a tag into like the ears of cows and all that other nonsense. Never joined my Discord. Join the Discord. Pound that glass of wine and throw it behind you for $50. No way. $100. Besides, I can't guarantee that money is coming to me, so no. Yeah, like just imagine if, like, as babies, we had a thing punched into our ear, alright? Click. We get a little tag into our ear. And that says, when you grow up, you're going to be a lawyer. And you have no choice in the matter. Like, that's kind of what we do. When we assign a gender to a child when they're born. And I used to be one of those people who was like, it's really weird that there are people who raise their kids gender neutral. And I'm just like, I kind of get it, actually. I'm beginning to understand the whole concept. What it do it go in or out? Does what go in or out? The wine goes in. The wine goes very deep. I need to see that money in my coffee account. Specifically, did I go for coffee? No, I didn't. But I do have a coffee. There's a subtle way of trying to coerce people to help me buy a PS5. How is that going anyway? I think I've got a decent chunk of my $850 coffee goal. That's the goal. We're going to try to get a PS5. Join the Discord on your alt. Why do you have an alt? Why do you need an alt account in 2020? I mean, I suppose, like, depending on... Why do you need an alt in 2020? So it'd be kind of how it's... Yeah, sure, why not? For bot testing. For bot testing? Okay. And permissions. Oh, okay. For $850. Besides, I don't want to have to clean glass out of my carpet. I don't trust these... I bought this pack of wine glasses. There were 6 of them. 2 of them are gone now. And I do not trust it to even fall on the carpet and survive it. From like 3 feet in the air. I do not trust it. I've smashed a couple of these. Only 2 of them are gone, yes. I tend to just keep one out and the rest are in a box. Cat, what is wrong with you? My god. The cat's having a moment. The smudge is having a moment. You want to see the state of my... Yeah, it's $100 I have no guarantee I'm getting. This is my living room right now. It's got a whole ass bed and mattress set up in here that I have to put together. We've got a whole situation going on. And the cat has found himself... The cat's going fucking ham at the moment. I don't know what his deal is. Here he is. Look, hang on. Let's see if we can...
You are now one of us.
Hey! Classic tags. Thank you for the gift sub to Alter Kermit. I mean, that's some money. The cat's having... He's having a moment. He's having a moment. Look at him. I'm going to just observe the cat for a minute. Meow. Daily sub goal. Why am I turning down $100? Because I can't guarantee I'm going to get it. Which, realistically, do we want to ramble about jobs? $100 for the glasses to show you're serious. I still can't tell if you are serious, though. But that's... I like the sub, though. Thanks for the sub. If you can... You know what? If you cheat... Let's do some math for a minute. Let's do some... You got gifted a sub. That doesn't count. Let's do some math for a moment. Like, how much money do Australian Twitch streamers get from subs? Let's do some math for a second. Okay, so how much do Twitch streamers... This is not going to help us. What's this with Reddit, Twitch? Let's have a look. You get 45 AUD a week. What do you get 45 AUD a week for? But like that was me thinking to myself for a second. It's like, okay, I have no guarantee I'm going to get this $100, right? If I smash a glass, I got no guarantee I'm going to get that $100. Realistically speaking, that's true of literally every job though. Like you could go to work, you could spend 48 hours at a job. I don't know why I picked 48. It's close to 40. You're doing 8 hours of overtime. And they say they're going to pay you double and a half for those extra 8 hours, right? But then payday comes around. Let's call it Wednesday. Let's call it Wednesday. You get paid, right? Wednesday comes around the next week. And you're waiting for your paycheck to come in. You're waiting for, let's say, $1,100 paycheck from your job that you just did 48 hours of the previous week, and nothing comes in. And there's nothing, I mean, there are technically legalities, there are laws, there's legislation.
Appreciates your recommendation.
Batch, thank you for the host. There is legislation to try to keep your employer in check, but realistically speaking, there's nothing saying they're going to pay you that $1,100. I mean, legitimately speaking, your employer should pay you that money, but if your employer decides to be a greedy asshole, they could just not pay you. And you know what could happen? You could go to them and you could say, oh, I haven't been paid this week. I haven't been paid this week. And they'll go, oh, there's been a problem with processing payments. You'll get it in a couple days. And they could just continually do that to you. Realistically speaking. And yeah, you do sign a contract and you can sue the employer. But I'm just saying, like, realistically speaking, your employer has no necessary reason to treat you well at all. They do not. You want to go to Fair Work and let them know your previous boss paid you $15 an hour. Is $15 an hour a good pay rate? I think I used to make 23 at Kohl's an hour, which was decent. It wasn't bad money. Am I good? I'm a terrible, terrible person. I'm a blatant communist. Like, that, according to many righties, that makes me a bad person. Like, it's terrible. Blatant lefty libertarian communist. Fuck the system we live in. Honestly, the system we live in, capitalism has failed. Do we want to go into my politics now? We did that last night. Was it last night? Yeah, we did the political spectrum test last night. According to that test from 2001, which is still relevant, I will give it credit, it's still relevant in the way it asks the questions. Am I good? What does that mean? No. What acid did I take? It's Sauv Blanc. It's Moscato with Sauvignon Blanc. Honestly, it just tastes like regular Moscato, though. Like, it's not... I was expecting it to be a little bit more tart, a little bit more... There's a little bit more of a flavor to it. I mean, I don't know what the Indian chefs put in the meal they gave us tonight, but it was nice. I don't think there were any drugs in it. I think it was just, curry, chicken, rice, beef, vegetables. But as for this is alcoholic, but again, it just tastes like Moscato. I was hoping for something with a little bit more bite. And sadly, it does not have all that much bite. It does not. Meth drink. You think this guy is 14? Why? Why? Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. I remember when you were in my car, Jacinta, and my kids were in the back seat, and you cranked that song and started singing along to it. With my then 3 and 7-year-old children in the back seat. Oh, fuck. Good shit. Did I birth them? I could have. I don't know. Who knows? Could have adopted them. They could have been given to me. They could be my godchildren. They could be... I could be talking about dogs. There are a lot of people who have got like dogs and cats and they're just like, my children, my little babies. And they're talking about a fucking dog. You forgot about it. It was good though. That was fun. We should definitely expose our children to Rage Against the Machine more routinely. All the kids in the nation should be exposed to Rage Against the Machine and other similar politically driven bands. Absolutely. Expose them to more anarchic music. Are they proud of me? Yes, they are. And I'm proud of them. They're good. They're good kids. They're very good kids. Did I birth them? That's a strange question. What is it with people asking questions about things involving other people's genitalia? Why does this come up? How often, like in a general sense, okay, just a serious question here. Let's put this out there into the world because I want to ask this question. Cisgender people, there's a thing I wanted to talk about tonight. I just remembered there is a topic. There is a fucking topic. I have a topic we can discuss. Okay, we'll come back to that in a second. Before we go to this, how often do you among your cisgender friends ask about their genitalia? How often do you, as a man, go to a woman that your friend... Well, I mean, honestly, there are quite a few men who will ask a woman about her vagina. How many times do you, as a man, go to another man and say, hey, how's your penis looking today? Is your penis good today? How's your penis? Did you wash your penis today? Like, how often do people do this? How routine is this? 2 days a week, roughly. That sounds like a pretty good standard to go by, I think. If you're going up to any of your other cis friends, just be like, how's your genitalia? I hope your genitalia is keeping well. Want to perform a factory reset. What is that? What's that going to accomplish, honestly? Hey, Broken, how you doing? I tried waxing. Didn't work. Quite frankly, there's no actual, you washed it this morning. There you go. Waxing is not good for facial hair. We'll get that out of the way. Waxing's not good for it. Plucking is okay, but it's very tedious when you got a lot of hairs. Laser hair removal is my recommendation. If you personally are thinking of getting rid of your really scraggly, like I can already tell you're one of those people who can't grow a full beard, electrolysis is another good option, but that's very expensive. But if you want to get rid of that scraggly little I can't actually grow a beard facial hair, laser hair removal is a good option if your hair is darker and you have fair skin. That's the unfortunate reality of laser hair removal, is generally speaking, you need to have darker hair and lighter skin in order to fix that. Wax on, wax off. I haven't thought about the Karate Kid in a minute. God, that's one of those cult classics that I've just sort of been like, I can't remember if I've seen that or not. Anyway, here's a Twitter thread. There's a Twitter thread. They did this in all caps, but then they redid it in lowercase. So like, here's the tweet, right? Here's the tweet they originally did. They had a whole thread in caps lock. And this person goes, great as all that is, it would be great to have a version of this thread, not in all caps. Kind of hard to read. We got a live one, boys. Keep them in here. I enjoy having viewers. You know? Cis people, I want you to take half an hour and think about your gender. I mean, I'm not going to ask you to sit there for half an hour thinking about your gender, but maybe when you have a spare half an hour and you're just sitting around playing with your balls or something, really think about it. Hard. Maybe don't go with the hard thing. Don't get yourself off. Not because you're possibly trans, though maybe you are, I don't know, but because it'll lead you to better understand a part of yourself that society lets you leave unexamined. Some questions to ponder. What do I enjoy about being my gender? Why do I identify with my gender? What gendered expectations do I put on myself? Do I enjoy those expectations? Why or why not? What gendered expectations do I put on others? Why? Let's open this thread up completely. How do societal pressures affect my gender presentation? In what ways could I better feed my gender? What small things could I do in order to make it happy? How do I visualize gender as a concept? What does my gender in specific look like? The goal of this exercise isn't to trigger some grand revelation, just to get you thinking about something you may not think about much. Get to know yourself a little better. You deserve it. Are you right? I'll give you a timeout because I don't want to kick you out yet. Because, you know, I enjoy having viewers. Okay, we have a trained parrot. Okay. So get to know yourself a little better. You deserve it. If it does trigger a grand revelation of some sort, that's okay. I recommend talking through it with a friend you trust, and my DMs are always open if you have questions about gender shit. What if my answer to most of those was nothing? You may just not have a gender. What that specifically means to you and what you do with that information is your decision, but I might recommend looking into the agender community to see if your experience matches. So there's an interesting little thought experiment about gender, right? It's like, how often do you, if you identify specifically as a man, specifically as a woman, specifically as heterosexual, like let's just say if you identify as a cisgender heterosexual man or woman, you know, let's just say you fit the social norm, how often do you think about your gender or your sexuality? And I don't like to lump gender and sexuality in together, but we're in the unfortunate situation where a lot of people link those two together innately, even though your gender identity and your sexuality are two completely separate concepts, right? But yeah, like how often do cisgender people, how often do people who are just assigned male at birth, assigned female at birth, and just go along with it, how often do they think about it? My psychologist, I got to get that right. I have not seen a psychiatrist. I've seen a psychologist. There is a difference. They're two separate entities. But when I was seeing my psychologist, which was quite an eye-opening experience, and quite frankly, if you have the opportunity to go to therapy, I do recommend you do it. It can really help you unpack quite a few things that are already in your head. Can really help you unpack things that you've been holding on to and allow you to express them in a certain way, and then thus the understanding of those things becomes more clear to you. So anyway, what they said to me, and they said this several times, is she never thinks about her gender. She never thinks about that identity, which is a rather interesting concept. And I want to know if there are indeed any cis people out there who have been very contemplative around it. You only think about it when you talk about it being trans. That's understandable. That's a very understandable viewpoint. And perhaps that can help you to understand where we're coming from when we talk about the whole trans thing in general, the whole trans concept. I've got one or the other. I've got wine. I got wine. That's what I got. And that's kind of the thing, isn't it? And one of the unfortunate reality is I've always been rather familiar with the concept. That's why I talk about it quite a lot. But there are quite a few people who identify as transgender who may only know the surface level information around trans identity, but they know enough that they can identify themselves as trans. And realistically speaking, if that's all they want is to just know that they are trans and know that surface level transgender identity stuff without looking deeper, and that's all they want, they just want to say, I'm a trans person. Maybe they're non-binary, maybe they're binary trans, whatever. And they don't want to go into that depth about it. Why is there this weird expectation that as soon as a trans person exists, that cis people have to interrogate them on it? Why do we have to know every innate little detail? Or why do trans people need to know every innate little scientific detail that makes up our identities? Can you support? Coffee! You got 26 years of child support. Nice. Wait, you have to pay 26 years of child support, or you're receiving it? You can buy me a coffee if you want to support the Stream Free Camera. I would appreciate it. I did change, I swear it was tip. I swear I had it set to tip. I swear there was a tip command. Maybe I got rid of it. But yeah, that's an interesting thing. I'm actually going to add that. I'll add tip as an alternative to !coffee, which was supposed to be if I do a be right back screen. You know, if I do a be right back, somebody in chat can type !coffee if they know the command. And subtly hint, it's like, oh, Abby's away. You can buy her a coffee while she's making a coffee. Ha ha ha. Which, by the way, can we talk about coffee for a minute? I use instant roast coffee, like the granules. I'm not fancy. I don't have a coffee machine. My dad's got like a big $2,000-$3,000 fucking metal box on his kitchen counter. It's massive. It's a capsule-based coffee machine. Makes amazing coffee. And I feel like it is explicitly an attack against the proletariat that I cannot afford one of these fucking things. How much coffee does he drink? A lot. I think that's where I get it from. I drink black coffee. I drink one black coffee in the morning before the gym. That's my pre-workout. Then, typically throughout the day, I will have like 1, 2, maybe even 3 more coffees with like sugar and milk. You have a true way to figure if you are gay. Ask them. Ask a person. Really, it's kind of rude when you think about it. Don't go asking people if they're gay. I'll freely admit to it though. I'm a lesbian. I'm lesbian as fuck. Can I say the D word? She's a dyke. It's naughty. Don't tell Twitch I said the D word. I could go even further. Some of the people I follow on Twitter are really like out and proud about saying the T slur F slur combination. And I kind of love the edginess behind it. And I'm very tempted some days to say, I am a proud TF. And I can't do that. I'm not allowed to do that. I would probably, very likely, even though I'm talking about myself, cop some kind of punishment for that. And there's no punishment I want to be receiving on Twitch. Thank you very much. A little butt at the end of your nose. What? Is that supposed to be a joke? Because I'm waiting for the punchline. I'm like, what's the punchline there? Genuinely curious. Oh, I got rid of the thread that I was reading. Hang on, let me get back to the thread that I was reading. What's the, do you think that somebody continuously sucking cock is actually going to have a physiological effect on their nose? Realistic? Like, how deep are they going? And how often? Posture check. Yeah, thank you. My posture is fucking shit tonight. Oh. Okay. It's like, It reminds me of that joke. Reminds me vaguely of that, joke in quotes. The joke being that guy and his wife are sitting down on the couch, and I think they posted a TikTok, and the internet went crazy and literally went as far as to try to dox them, I think, after this. But the joke was really offensive and insensitive and unnecessary, and it was just like, here's the, yo, how are you? I'm doing good, 29, how are you doing? The joke was really just like, he makes a question about black people. His wife answers the joke with a really racist remark in her own right. And then he follows up with another really racist remark. It's just like, neither of those things are a punchline. Like, neither of those things are specifically a punchline in the whole grand scheme of things. And that's the thing I notice a lot. A lot of people tend to tell jokes, but the funny's not there. You need the funny in order to end a joke. How can there be more than two genders? You're generally trying to learn. The most basic thing that we can go with is that gender entirely is a social construct. We made it up. We as a society were just like, okay, there's two main body types that are generally seen around when children are born. We're generally used to seeing two body types the majority of the time. And at some point, somebody was like, okay, we're going to assign this social role to this body type and this social role to this body type. And over time, or perhaps even before we started recording any of this sort of stuff, there were people that just grew into their own and began to unpack that whole idea of there just being that two-gender binary. And as a result, people have started to think to themselves, well, I don't really fit this role or this role. It doesn't feel right for me to call myself man or woman, male or female. So they went beyond that and they decided they're going to create their own ones, or they're going to study the idea of gender roles beyond the preconceived norm. If genders are social constructs and roles, why do they create more? Why not? You're going to be lurking. Sounds good. Sounds good, Batch. Who creates them? People who don't feel comfortable with the gender binary. Aren't you still blindly following? Well, wouldn't it be the opposite of blindly following? Wouldn't it be exploring your own ideas? Are you giving me money or not? Because if you're not going to give me money, you can leave. I'd prefer money, please. Like, there's a lot to unpack about the whole gender identity thing. And I think a lot of people are just cemented in this notion that there's only two. When we've demonstrated there's more than that. We can demonstrate there's more than that. We can demonstrate there are different roles and different ideas around what a person considers their gender. And realistically speaking, the idea of gender is fucking stupid anyway. It's just a bunch of labels we slapped on ourselves and said, this is what we're going to be. Why? Why do you... And again, you're saying, aren't you still blindly following? Aren't you? If you just go along with what society's norm tells you to do, you're going to end up just the same as everybody else. Sheeple, I swear to fucking God. Hey Eva, how you doing? I hate to use that term. I'm just a cigarette, I am. I am a burnt out cigarette. Let's have a look at something really quickly. There was actually a list. Where was it? Gender identity terms, that's from... What are the different genders? It's Cinti! Oh, it's Jacinta, yes. It's Jacinta, yes it is. Yeah, we have some dicks on chat tonight. I didn't ask for these ones, though. Can you stop trying to circumvent the language filter? Go away. Okay. It's purple, by the way, but my camera doesn't pick up the purple. I can't show you how the... It's not meant to be blue, it's purple. For fuck's sake, acknowledge... Why does this camera, this Logitech C922 camera, does not pick up purple? This is a green screen, by the way. You're not shaming me. It's a great color either way. Thank you. I like it. It's quite nice. It's starting to flake off, though. The unfortunate reality of nail polish is it starts to peel away pretty quick. I've only had this on for like a few days, and already I am in the need to replace it, and I don't have the time. Ugh. So many trolls on chat tonight. They're giving me views. That's the most important part, is like... If you're in here harassing me, you're increasing my analytics. So please continue to come in here and think you have anything interesting or original to say. Because why are these people always saying the same fucking dumb shit every time? Why do they not have an original thought in their heads? Why do they not ever think of anything new? Why are they stuck, like, honestly, 30 years ago? Why are they honestly stuck like 30 fucking years ago or more? They never progress. They never think, like, we keep seeing the same old tired attack helicopter joke, for example. Same soul, pretty much. Transphobes have 3 jokes and none of them are funny. Same name on Insta, you noodle. It's like, why do bigots think they're being clever? Or rather, I don't think they are, honestly. I think that's the reality of the situation. I don't think they think they're being clever. And I think they realize just how dumb and frivolous they're being. And they're just trying to get like this angered response out of it. What about if there are only 12 souls? I was hypothesizing about this in the car tonight on the way home from dinner. Because this is a theory I've held for a while, is that there are only, much like there are only 7 basic stories, right? If you really look into it, there are only 7 basic narratives. So like the hero's journey or a romance or something like that. And in my personal opinion, on a broad scale, there's only so many personality types. There are only a select few types of people. And we just have like minor details that change. But generally speaking, you can put a lot of people into a lot of boxes. You can put a lot of people into very few boxes, I should say. Again, this is based on nothing. I don't know if there's a theory that might already exist around this concept. But just based on my own personal experience, I've met a lot of people in my life. And a lot of them, if you told me that was Brian, I would have gone, oh, is that who that is? Yeah, I know them. I know them exactly, you know, but the actual reality is that's Jeremy, you know, and Brian is someone I met 13 years ago, and Jeremy over here is the exact same fucking person, he just looks different. And I've met so many people that match that exact description. I've met you once, but you're a different person, and yet you fit the exact same box. And how many souls? I'm not quite sure. This is the thing. There is probably more to this. There's probably there is probably actual science around personality. There is that personality test thing you can do. I don't know how much stock I put in that. The what's it called? Like the INFJ kind of bullshit, whatever that is. That could be a good indicator of the same kind of thing. And originally I looked at that kind of thing and I was just like, this is bullshit. This is stupid. There's no basis for this. Myers-Briggs, the Myers-Briggs test. Let's have a look at that. Let's have a look at the Myers-Briggs test. Ugh, I can't type. Myers-Briggs. Okay, Myers-Briggs type indicator. No, I don't want to go to Wikipedia. Fuck off. MBTI basics. Myers-Briggs Foundation. So, yeah, my hypothesis is there's only a certain number of personality types. So here we go. Is there a test for it online? I think there is a test for it online that actually gives you what your personality type is. But effectively, it can range from anything from like surface level stuff can be your interests, your hobbies, the amount of people I've met who are specifically into AFL, for example. There's a lot of people I've met who are into AFL, and they're typically beer drinkers, and they typically like their coffee dark, or they typically work in a physical laboring job, and they typically say mate a lot. And they're pretty crass, and they swear, like all of these different facets. Like, these are all the same people, just in different skins. And that's a broad concept, of course. Especially when you factor in, like, that's just Australia, honestly. Australia is made up of, like, maybe 2 personality types. Those types of people and me. But then you look at, say, people like my dad, who's business oriented, and he pays a lot of attention to the stocks, and he likes race cars for some reason. And I've met other people who are exactly like him. They all fit the same window. They fit the same little box for some reason. And it's not always just specifically their hobbies, it's also their personality types. Are some people more assertive and more designed for like a delegation-based managerial role over, is this person more, do they lean more in the vein of, I'm going to work at the bottom rung of society forever and not have any choice to pursue my goals? Or are they going to work at that bottom rung of society just to have some income to pursue their other goals, to pursue art or music or whatever else? Maybe they're a fucking scientist. This little bit of my scarf is annoying me, and I want to cut this off. There's a tag there. I want to cut it off. It's a typical 45-year-old Aussie. I've met so many of them. They're all exactly the same. They all like to bush bash. I don't know why they like to bush bash. I like to go four-wheel driving, you know. There's quite a few standards in terms of personalities. Again, I may be wrong. I would like to study this deeper. I think this is probably something you could find psychological texts about. Let's see if we can find. I mean, that's list of genders. We don't want that. We've already done the gender thing. Four-wheel driving. How many types of personalities? It was there for a second, not how many types of potatoes are there. It came up for a second. How many types of personalities are there? This, according to this, again, comes back to the Myers-Briggs thing. 16. Allegedly 16 different types of personalities. Do you believe that? Self-inflating mattress has four-wheel drive in it. There you go. Yay, alcoholism. Oh, it's good shit. Okay. AKA what your cousins were talking about all over Christmas. That would be insufferable. Honestly, I don't know if I'd be able to tolerate that. And also, it also becomes one of those things where they're just like, especially with the AFL thing, especially with the football thing, that's the exact same thing. Especially with the football thing, especially with the four-wheel driving thing, especially with like fishing is another one. They all tend to assume you are exactly like them as well. This is the problem, particularly with Australia, is like, I think there's like one or two personality types that are the majority of Australians. Not even kidding, not even memeing right now. I think, generally speaking, the majority of Australians fit into one of the two personality types. And of those, they tend to always ask you what you thought of the footy, and I've never been into the footy. You were so goddamn bored. Oh no, that would suck. Psychographic, same shit that Facebook is. Facebook's a mess. I don't understand Facebook. Or do you mean the kinds of people that use Facebook, which is another type of personality trait? The kind of people that are addicted to Facebook and believe that it's the be-all, end-all of all kinds of social media. Cambridge Analytica. That sounds familiar. Cambridge Analytica. I can type, don't worry. I can type. Facebook Cambridge Analytica data scandal. Was that what you're talking about? Was it this thing back in 2013? Was an incident where millions of Facebook users' personal data was acquired without the individual's consent by Cambridge Analytica, predominantly to be used for political advertising. Political advertising, okay. You never liked AFL? I've never liked it either. Been a passenger when a guy went off-road four-wheel driving, and to be honest, you can see the... Oh, I mean, I've been on four-wheel drives before. I've been four-wheel driving, and it's been fun, but I get really... I prefer to be in my safe little bubble in society. I don't like being out in the wild too much. I don't like being in dangerous situations too much, as the skateboarder. But at least when I go to the skate park, there's like a shopping mall right nearby. So if I break a leg, I can generally crawl to another human being. If I get trapped in a four-wheel drive out in the bush by myself, I'm fucked. There was a thing, The Guardian. Is it The Guardian? And I'm pretty sure they published an... or was it the UK Guardian? I can't remember. Speaking of politicians. There was a thing that I was rather interested in touching on. I know you're sick of politicians. Give me a second. Let me see if I can Google this. Is Google gonna work lately? No, this was a recent article. Hang on a second. Fuck's sake! Okay, I swear I read something recently. If somebody can find the article. And I had the article saved, but I can't find it now. You like danger, you're a cool girl. Cool, dangerous girl. I like dangerous girls. I found an article recently talking about, since we're talking about used to be political advertising, this Cambridge Analytica thing, there was a bit of a controversy. It wasn't a controversy, it was just like an article detailing that the Liberal government, the current ruling government in Australia, spent $132 million on advertising. So the party that currently leads the country spent $132 million on advertising of taxpayer money. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, you rule the country right now. You are in charge. Why are you spending taxpayer money on advertising? To who? What are you advertising for? You're in. Until there's an election cycle, which there's not until, like, I think 2022. There's not going to be a federal election. I can't recall. Or maybe it's like late next year, but it's like we're far off needing political advertising at this point in time. What are you spending that money on? What's the reason to take $132 million of taxpayer money and do political advertising as the ruling government? They make you vote for one or two parties. They do. Australia's in a two-party system. We've got the Liberals and we've got the Labor Party. And there are other parties, but they never get in. We've got the Pirate Party, we've got the Greens, we've got One Nation. Ugh. One Nation makes me wish that we didn't have a ban on guns thanks to the Port Arthur massacre. That's a multi-layered reference. Anyway, I'm not saying we should make assumptions of people before we know them, but you've never met a person who likes 4X gold beer and didn't drop slurs every chance they got. I hate how accurate that is. Holy fuck. That is very true. And I, meanwhile, have never met a person who drinks Foster's. Period. Like, I'm not going to add anything onto that. Just like, there's no one in Australia drinks Foster's. And I think the only people outside of Australia who do so because they're such big fans of Australia. Crocodile Dundee is my favorite movie. Mate. Did you know? Are you aware? Was it this? Did you guys hear about this? Did you guys hear about the fact that for some reason, I spelled the name of it wrong, but Paul Hogan and a bunch of other old wankers got together to make the very excellent Mr. Dundee. They brought back Crocodile Dundee, I guess. And I'm just sitting here like Chevy Chase, whatever. John Cleese, I don't know who Jacob Elordi is. Olivia Newton-John, Wayne Knight, I don't know who Reginald Vell Johnson is. And Paul Hogan. Who's watching this movie? I feel like the fan base for this movie are all dead. Like, what's the target market of the very excellent Mr. Dundee? Can someone please explain that to me? Yeah, we tried Foster's. Jeff and I tried Foster's once together to see what it was all about, and it's terrible. It's not good. It's not worth the investment. Just stick with your Moscato and Sauv Blanc. Highly recommend it. Cheap. You can get a whole bottle and get absolutely fucking plastered off one glass, apparently. I think I'm just tired. I don't think I'm actually drunk. I think the alcohol's had an effect on me because I'm tired, but I don't think I'm actually drunk. Because, yeah, that's one wine glass. I've had one singular wine glass, and I didn't even get my hydration from it. Not my hydration. Fuck. What was I going to say? I didn't get something. I don't know. Cider is good. I like some ciders. I like, yeah, Jeff's a moderator. Jacinta, do you want to be a moderator too? Who else wants to be a moderator? I need moderators. I need people who hangs out here often enough to be a mod. Who can I trust to follow my warn, suspend, ban thing? Here we go. Evo. There you go. Oops. Did that work? There we go. That's Evo. Jacinta, do you want to be a moderator? Is that yes to do you want to be a moderator? Sometimes you drink 45 beers. Like, in one day. That's a lot. There was a good video about that, actually. I'm gonna give Jacinta mod. There we go. There you go. You have a sword now. What was it? His fucking name. Let's go to Chubby Emu's YouTube channel for a second. On the subject of beers. On the subject of beers, mate. There's a video he did with Justin Wang. Let me see if I can find it. It wasn't that long ago, I swear. Medicine. Student felt a sharp pain. Boy ate 3 laundry pods. Where is it? Where's the video he did with Justin Wang? Emia, meaning presence in blood. Toxicology. A dad drank 50 beers every day for 6 weeks. Can we watch this? I want to watch this one. I want to share this one with you because, I mean, there are 2 great things about this video. One, Chubby Emu is a legendary YouTuber and you should all go subscribe to him. And 2, Justin Wang is a legendary YouTuber and you should all go subscribe to him.
A dad drank 50 beers every day for 6 weeks. This is what happened.
That's Justin Wang. We stand.
JW is a 42-year-old man presenting to the emergency room with status epilepticus, a 15-minute seizure. Nurses use medicine to terminate his seizure, but 5 minutes later, JW starts seizing again. We did do a stream where we were trying various beers. Yes, we did. I don't think I have that VOD anymore, though. That was so long ago. That was pre, Abigail. This didn't faze anyone because this is his 2nd time presenting to the emergency room this month. JW was a dad. When his sons were young, he took them on a fishing trip. He told them he was going to go get some bread and snacks for the fish, but he never came back. 12 years ago, JW started drinking every day. In the last few years, he had been admitted. This is my favorite part, okay? Like, we're watching Wang drinking all this beer. You scroll down in the comments, wait, you were filming that?
The hospital 25 times for alcohol-related problems. He always told doctors about his boys and how excited he was to get better and be back in their lives. They're such good kids, he would say, but JW never got better. He always ended up back with his beer. About 2 months ago, medical staff leaving their shift from the emergency room would see JW on the street nearby, sitting on the floor, slumped over a pile of his own beer cans. No one could do anything about it. Day in and day out, JW didn't drink too much.
Don't play that. I wanted to pause this. What I wonder about is, like, what kind of job is this guy doing to be able to afford all this beer in this story?
He drank to just feel normal. 50 beers daily.
That's a pretty standard alcoholism thing. It's like you get to a certain point with your alcoholism where you hit a wall and you need to drink to, like, you start feeling, what's the term I'm looking for? Not drunk, but you definitely don't feel sober, and you need to drink to get to the point of feeling sober. And then there are some people who will reach such a point with their alcoholism where they'll have a hard reset, and all of a sudden, it's really is more complicated than I can explain, but I did study this at university. Their liver, I think if this happens, they're on their way out, right? If this happens, they're on their way out. Your liver can effectively shut down, and one drink will heavily intoxicate you. And at that point, you've got weeks, maybe days, before your body completely shuts down. This is a video by somebody who is a known medical professional or has actually studied this kind of stuff.
This is only dietary intake for more than a month, which gives us some clues as to what's happening to him. The medical team was familiar with drunk JW presenting to the emergency room, but this time, something's wrong.
Oh, what was this? This was early this year.
Depressant, meaning that it slows down all the processes of the brain. But a seizure is all of the brain processes firing off at the same time.
Hello, Kaz. How you doing?
Opposite the action of a depressant. You don't usually seize when you're drunk at 42 years old. JW's still breathing. It doesn't look like he's ingested anything else. Drunk JW is not the person presenting to this emergency room.
Hello again, Broken. What's going on?
Meaning that something else is happening to him. It's possible he could be suffering from alcohol withdrawal. Chronic misuse of alcohol builds dependence.
This is what I was talking about.
Structures in the brain adapt to the excess amounts of ethanol placed in the body. Areas of the brain that are supposed to insulate electrical signals are stimulated by the alcohol, meaning after repeat stimulation,
More and more alcohol is needed to maintain the same level of inhibition.
Both of these guys
This is
are
modulated
Americans,
by
by the
GABA,
way.
which is an important neurotransmitter.
And I can't remember,
excess
is Wang...
ethanol induces
Is Wang
insensitivity
Japanese
to it.
American
So,
or Chinese
more
American? I can't
inhibitors
recall.
needed to hold a constant inhibitory tone.
Not that that
This is
matters at
called
all.
Tolerance, but it's not done here.
They're both good
Alcohol also
YouTubers.
blocks a chemical
Not
in the
surprised
brain called
Justin Wang
glutamate
agreed
that
to a
excites
video
the
like
brain.
this.
So in this area, the structures that receive glutamate are constructed here in the hopes that alcohol can't block everything, and that some of that glutamate can get through because the brain needs that excitation to function normally. Chronic alcoholic's brain is physically changed after years of misuse.
By the way, I like how the patient's name is JW, because obviously he's not going to use the patient's real name. That's just literally Justin Wang.
So if JW hasn't had a drink for a few hours, electrical signals aren't insulated anymore. The increased numbers of glutamate receptors aren't blocked anymore, so everything gets excited, resulting in status epilepticus, creating a dependency on alcohol. If he doesn't drink for just a short period of time, bad things
This is why I
happen
don't try to
his
get
brain.
drunk.
JW seizes for the 6th time, and nurses terminate it again. But how can we be sure that JW has alcohol withdrawal? In between seizures, JW is confused and disoriented. When asked when his last drink was, he can't even slur out an answer because he can't even say his own name. If his only dietary intake was 50 beers every day for weeks, then he has protein.
Again, like, I feel like... And this is, like, this definitely happens. I've seen people who are in this state of alcoholism where they are drinking that much per day. But it just baffles me to think somebody going through more than a... how much is in a case of beer? How much is a typical case of beer? What's BWS got? Hang on a second. Let me just hide this just in case. Beer. Block. You do not need to know my location. Beer specials. Give me a second. I just don't want to show my, like... It's not going to show me now. Show me. Really? You're not going to... just... Bro, I just want to browse your beer selection so I can see how much... 24 beers? I think 24 is a case, isn't it? Yeah, 24 is a pretty standard case. So he's drinking 2 cases a day, at least.
Malnutrition. He has vitamin deficiency, which are well known to cause neurologic issues in chronic alcoholics. Both of these could be an easy fix, though. If he needs vitamins, give him vitamins and make sure he doesn't stop receiving those vitamins. Proteins can also be important here too, but more urgently, a blood test reveals that JW has chronic hyponatremia.
Wang the alcoholic enters the chat. Dude, if Wang was in my chat, I'd lose my fucking mind.
Natrium as shown by its symbol on the periodic table of elements, and emia meaning presence.
I need to watch his
in
latest
blood.
video. I adore Justin Wang's videos. He's so good at it.
In blood. Chronic, meaning that
He's
this has
definitely
been
one of my
developing
influences
on
in
a
making YouTube
timescale
videos.
of several weeks now, pointing us back to the 50 beers that he drank every day that are sitting inside of his body at the moment. Hyponatremia can be the cause of his seizures too, which brings us to the next clue.
You know who I haven't been
50
keeping up
cans
with
of
is
beer
Jim Sterling. I
more
need to
than
keep up with Jim Sterling.
4.5 gallons of liquid that's been going into JW's body daily. Interestingly enough, in the emergency room, JW has barely made any urine at all, meaning that there really hasn't been a net flow out of his body. His body is holding on to all of that liquid, and it's not just from one day's worth of beer, it's a staggered accumulation over several weeks.
This reminds me of the story, there was a story on Reddit a while back. A guy posted a picture of his friend who had this really absurdly bloated gut, but all the rest of his body looked fairly, for lack of a better word, like normal BMI range, so to speak. But he had this excessively bloated gut. And every few weeks, this was because of his alcoholism, this guy. And it was at the point where it was like there was no way to be able to save his life. He was going to die. He had to go into the hospital every 2 to 3 weeks to get the fluid drained out of his gut. And he was at that point where a single drink would intoxicate him like crazy. And his body would just start accumulating and storing fluid, no matter what it was.
But let's look at the name hyponatremia, low sodium presence in blood. Low sodium fits because in 1 can of beer, there's about only 10 milligrams of sodium. This is about as much sodium as in 1 cup of tap water. When natremia is measured, it's reported as the amount of sodium present divided by a volume of body water. So low sodium presence in blood can be caused by a large volume of fluid, like 4.5 gallons of beer every day. But
4.5
this also
gallons.
means that a low value can be caused by an actual low amount of sodium going into the body. Usually hyponatremia is a problem with water because that's harder for the body to balance when something is wrong. But if JW's only dietary intake for 6 weeks was 50 cans of beer daily, then this means that he has both a lot of water that he's holding onto, and he has very little sodium in his body because beer doesn't really have salt in it. But sodium isn't the only electrolyte that matters here. Beer also doesn't have potassium. Potassium also has an influence on body water through its impact on urine production, but JW also has hypokalemia, or low potassium presence in blood, because of that beer. Both sodium and potassium electrolytes interplay with urea, which is a breakdown product of protein in the kidneys to help produce urine.
I had an idea. I had a thought for a moment about the 50 beers every day thing, and it just completely slipped my mind. I don't know what it was, but I had a thought about the 50 beers a day thing. I don't know, I lost it. The ideal amount of beer. Oh, hello Lucy, how you doing?
JW hasn't eaten any protein lately.
We're reacting to an older Chubby Emu
then
video
his
at the moment.
muscles should be wasting away in atrophy.
17 liters.
Welcome
God.
to the Rogue Room. We hope you enjoy your stay.
Thank you for the follow. Welcome to the Rogue Room.
Carbs. Carbohydrates, which in the body are broken down to sugar and water. Sugar induces the response of insulin, an anabolic hormone which prevents the breakdown of muscle, meaning no urea is available for urine production, along with hyponatremia and hypokalemia. These are all causing him to hold on to all of that water because the kidneys need to exchange these when it makes urine. This beer podomania, podo from an ancient Greek word meaning to drink, and mania referring in this case to an excess, is a hypotonic hyponatremia that is causing all of JW's problems.
Guys, fucked his body good and proper. Oh yeah. Extreme alcoholism can very well kill you.
That his urine was
and it's so easily accessible to
this
everyone.
Makes sense. We've already established that he's got a lot of water inside of him. When someone is well hydrated, the urine is supposed to be dilute, but well hydrated in JW's case is an understatement. He should be bursting at the seams with fluid overload. He should be puffy and swollen everywhere. He should be peeing every couple of minutes. But he isn't.
He should be peeing every couple of minutes.
Where exactly are those hundreds of cans of beer inside of his body? Well, body water is supposed to have 0.9% sodium chloride. In the medical world, we call this isotonic. This means that for every 1 liter of water, there's 9 grams of sodium chloride, which is this table salt. 0.9% is thousands of times more sodium content than beer. Most of the body's water isn't actually in the blood, it's inside of the cells, and it exists as 0.9% sodium chloride. Sodium creates something called an osmotic gradient, which means that wherever sodium is, water will flow towards it. In this small science experiment, I dissolve salt in this water and place it into a tube. I submerge the tube in a pool of water that has no salt dissolved in it, and you'll see that water flows into the tube. That water flows towards the sodium. So, if his body water has been diluted by hundreds of cans of beer, then it means that the water inside of his cells is saltier. And because water flows towards where there's sodium, then JW's body water is flowing into his cells. This would mean that his organs, like his liver and his intestines, are starting to swell with water. That should be okay though, because the abdomen is soft. But what about the brain? It's enclosed in a hard space. The skull has only room for a brain expansion of 8% before it starts to crush up against the sides of the skull and ooze out into the sutures or the gaps of the skull, pinching blood flow as parts of JW's brain start to necrose or quite literally die.
Unsurprising. You get having a drink maybe once or twice every 2 weeks, on a special occasion having a few beers or whatever, but that doesn't make it good for you. Well, no, the thing is with alcoholics, like with people who are chronic alcoholics, who are drinking so much, it becomes habitual. Like, this whole thing about how habits form after 3 weeks, right? If I were to drink 1 glass of wine every day for 3 weeks, it would become such a habit that I would probably just innately stop by the bottle shop once I knew my previous bottle was empty and grab another one. And then I would just continue on that. But I tend to break it up a little bit. I don't drink as often. Like I go through a bottle maybe once every 1 to 2 weeks, if that. Sometimes I can go, weeks or months at a time without drinking. I don't need to. I don't want to. But if you develop a habit for drinking, especially to excess, it becomes such a thing that you can't escape it. It becomes that addiction. And alcohol is such an easily accessible addiction because as soon as you're legally able to drink, you could just go buy as much of it as you want. There's no one stopping you. Hey, wee Willem, how you doing? Allah guide you, inshallah. Welcome. How's it going? Get having a drink every few weeks to months. Yeah, exactly. Like, you can have alcohol and not be addicted to it. Some people, unfortunately, have an addictive personality and just immediately get drawn, or rather, some people have an addictive personality towards certain things. I was most definitely addicted to, say, World of Warcraft when I was a lot younger. I routinely paid my subscription and I kept playing that game because I just couldn't get away from it. Eventually, I got sick of it and I broke the addiction myself. But there was definitely an addiction there. I was playing it up until 5 a.m. in the morning. I would sleep through the day, wake up at 3 in the afternoon or whatever, and then I would get back on the game as soon as I was awake, stop to maybe grab a snack every once in a while or make something that was honestly particularly unhealthy. So yeah, like I think a lot of us, generally speaking, have some sort of addictive personality trait, but generally speaking, either we are better at moderation. Some people are just not good at moderation. They can't handle moderation of things. I was for the Horde, but can I plainly state I was a Blood Elf like every time? I can't help it, okay? Blood Elf women have the coolest stealth animation, and I was a rogue. They have the most badass stealth animation in the entire game. They're just like down on all hands and knees, like ready to fucking pounce like a cat. It's amazing. I love it. And that was the reason I was a Blood Elf rogue. Anywho, like you and smokes nearly 550 days without one, you still crave them, yeah. And they do put shit in cigarettes to make you crave it. Like, that's intentional. And we were talking about today, me and Jeff and Katie were talking today about how it seems like vaping might be going through a fair bit of regulation to the point where it may even need to be me a rogue. I know, shocking. Where it may start becoming that you need some kind of prescription to get a vape in Australia, which is kind of crazy and unheard of considering it's generally speaking believed to be an alternative to cigarettes and arguably the less unhealthy version of cigarettes, right? That's what the vape lords like to go on about, at the very least. So it's interesting that we're seeing potential regulation towards vapes in Australia. And I dare say that is most certainly the cigarette lobbyists who are trying to retain their power, their stranglehold over the situation. And yeah, the tobacco industry doesn't like that. They do not want vaping taking over.
This damage upon brain expansion is known as herniation and means permanent brain damage in JW's case.
High contrast, okay.
Seizures.
Okay, Hecklin.
JW's hyponatremia is caused by a
low
daily intake of sodium, then simply just giving him salt is going to fix his
my
problems.
preferred pronouns, she and her.
Interestingly enough, this is one of
By the way,
instances
if you're
of
interested,
hyponatremia where giving just salt is the fix. But the
there is a
medical
pronouns
team can't
extension
give
if you're
him
interested.
tablets by mouth
And you can see
because
pronouns
he's
in chat. It's kind of cool.
disoriented. Giving him anything by mouth could cause him to choke. So he's given a small injection of 3% sodium chloride. Small injection because he doesn't need any more fluid, and 3% sodium chloride being saltier than isotonic 0.9% saline. Within a few hours, JW produces...
Can I just say I love the word saline? There's just something about the word saline that I just enjoy that word.
Gallons of urine. His kidneys are able to exchange the salts for water as it starts pouring out of his body. His seizures stop and he regains consciousness while medicines are given for his alcohol withdrawal. The medical team repeat the 3% sodium chloride injection 2 more times throughout the day to help with the cerebral edema. As the days go by, JW's sodium levels normalize. He's in stable condition. He gets vitamins and proteins. He recovers and is well enough for discharge from the hospital. But just before doctors sign off on the discharge, JW
it rolls off the
complains
tongue,
of
it does.
general weakness. His speech is slurred and incoherent. Neurology consult finds coordination deficits in JW. His movements in the limbs above his waist were uncoordinated, with intended positioning often missing the target at varying lengths. This is called dysmetria. Dys meaning wrong and metria meaning length. Similarly, he had dysdiadochokinesia, meaning that his ability to perform rapid alternative movements was compromised. All of this pointing to some possible neurodegeneration in JW that has worsened since his hyponatremia was corrected days ago because he didn't have...
We're watching a dad drink 50 beers every day for 6 weeks. This is what happened to his brain. Because we somehow got onto the topic of alcoholism, and I was just thinking... I've been thinking about Chubby Emu videos recently, and I was kind of interested in watching the one about the what's it called? The one about the Tide Pods. Do you remember the Tide Pod challenge from like a year or two ago? He did a video on some kids who actually tried it.
Those problems back then. He's not ready to be
Fuck
discharged.
saline.
As the hours go by, he becomes weak in all
kids were
limbs.
eating
Nurses ask
detergent
him to move
pods.
his arms and his legs, but no response. His muscles are floppy as his limbs become paralyzed, and an MRI of his brain reveals that JW has central pontine myelinolysis. Lysis meaning a breaking down of myelin, the conductive sheath.
We
that
did watch the
covers
Tide Pod
nerve
one, didn't we?
cells,
Yeah.
And central pontine referring to the central pons of the brain where it connects to the brainstem to deliver nerve
All them fuckers are Alaskan.
all throughout his body. If his hyponatremia has been corrected and JW has been sober for many days now under medical supervision, then how could he just suddenly become paralyzed?
This is my favorite bit.
Do you remember the name chronic hyponatremia?
No, fucking stop it. My media buttons for some reason are automatically defaulting to Spotify. They're meant to pause the YouTube video. This is my favorite bit, and it's really morbid to say. It's really fucking morbid to say. You'll see why.
Chronic means that his body has had low sodium presence in blood on a time scale of at least weeks to months because of that 50 beers only that he drank every day. When sodium presence in blood starts to decrease, water starts to flow into the cells pretty quickly. The brain does start to swell a bit in this initial phase, but the brain has an outlet called the cerebrospinal fluid, which flows into the spinal cord and cushions the brain inside of the skull. When hyponatremia is chronic, the swelling, even if it's slow, keeps happening, and the brain is forced to pump out organic salts, or carbon-containing salts, to further prevent the swelling. These organic salts are like sodium in that wherever they are, water will flow towards them too. So when they're out of the brain, water will follow them out. And because of this adaptation, this is why JW's brain doesn't immediately swell up after just a couple of weeks of drinking 50 beers every day, because as he was slowly losing sodium day by day, the adaptations in the brain were adjusting to the chronic hyponatremia. Sodium correction in a patient like JW is difficult because of all the metabolic derangements inside of his body, some of which are unmasked after initiation of therapy. His adapted brain started to shrink in the presence of sodium. Sodium and potassium rushed into his brain cells by design without the proper presence of those organic salts because those take time to get pumped back in to the brain cells. When there's a high sodium presence inside any cell, the DNA there starts to break. The cell
Look at all the
thinks it's
fancy
been mortally
CGI
damaged and
graphics they've
initiates
got.
Program death because of those DNA breaks. This happens to all cells in the body, and it's a defense mechanism against things like cancer. But in the brain cells, the myelin sheath in JW sloughs off, and parts of his brain start to die again.
That's not a nice word,
paralyzed
sloughs.
for life. Chronic hyponatremia is a completely different case from acute hyponatremia, where the brain hasn't had time to adapt, meaning that the correction in the case of acute can be quick and aggressive in an effort to save someone from the cerebral edema and the resulting brain herniation. Beer potomania can be difficult to identify if you don't know what you're looking for, because electrolyte disturbances are just so common in chronic alcoholism. And chronic alcoholics might not tell you exactly what happened because they might not even know themselves. About 18% of patients who have beer potomania are at risk of osmotic demyelination, and hypokalemia and hypophosphatemia are increased risk factors for it, especially since these patients are almost always severely malnourished, just like JW. Thank you so much for watching. Take care of yourself and be well.
There you go. That was a good one. I like that one. I'm quite a fan of that one. Actually good. It is interesting. It is interesting. It's worth subscribing to Chubby Emu to get more videos like that. It's worth subscribing to Justin Wang for videos that are not at all like that, but still amusing. I don't remember how we got onto that. I don't remember how we got onto that, but fun stuff, fun times. I enjoyed it. Alcohol Bad. Hello, Autumn. How you doing? Alcohol Bad. I was drinking wine. Maybe that's how we got onto it. I only had the one glass. And now the wine glass doesn't smell very nice. It smells like the wine, but it's been sitting there for a bit, so it's kind of sour smelling. I'm like, I don't need sour smelling. Thank you. Anywho, let's put this back on, because we did have some music playing in the background. Okay, so that was amusing. I've seen that one before. I've seen most of his more recent videos, I think. But yeah, if you have anything else that's sort of related, sort of topical that we could watch, I'm down. This look I got going, the whole like headband, scarf, this thingy. I need to get more things like this. Honestly, I'm a big fan of this. Can I show it? Like, I've shown this off before, but this is like a, just like, I can't even show you my leg. Their length. Like, it cuts off about there, right? And it's got these sort of sleeves. I don't know where to find more things like this. If somebody can find me more shirts, dresses, thingies like this, send them at me. Throw them in my Discord. Because I need more stuff like this. I'm craving it. But anyway, that's kind of one of the reasons it took me until I was 27 before I even touched alcohol, is that I always saw people who were at that point of being, maybe not as bad as that guy, but I had seen a number of people who got absolutely fuck-faced on alcohol, right? My cousin, unfortunately, could have been a potentially bad influence on me. The number of times that I saw him get absolutely shit-faced drunk, and I hung out with him alone, while, like, you know, my mother and his mother, my auntie, would be watching fucking old British sitcoms or whatever. We'd be either out the front or down at his friend's place. They'd have alcohol. And I had several opportunities, but it took me until I was about 27. And I felt like I was, at the point of maturity where I was like, I can make this decision for myself. I will decide to have alcohol, and I'm not going to go crazy with it. And as of now, as of like the 4 years I've been drinking, or occasionally, I have been drunk maybe 3 times. Like, actually, legitimately, will have a hangover the next morning drunk. What are your thoughts on having cigarettes prescription only? Realistic scenario, I would prefer it, if that were the case. But ideal scenario, cigarettes should be completely outlawed. The entire thing should be completely outlawed. Unfortunately, there's a lot of money in the cigarette industry, in the tobacco industry, and we're not going to be getting rid of it anytime soon. I don't know what we can do to raise... The thing about cigarettes is people know they are bad. People know they are inherently a bad thing, and they don't want to be smoking cigarettes. And yet, they continue to do so because it does have helpful effects. It does help to de-stress. It does help to take your mind off things. It does help to bring you down and normalize you a bit. But it's at the cost of your long-term health. So, yeah, nicotine should be illegal. I think nicotine should be illegal, But the thing is, like, we come to this unfortunate complication if we start to talk about the illegality of certain drugs. Do we start outlawing alcohol, nicotine, tobacco, marijuana, all these? My personal input is that all drugs should be legalized so that there is no more, should be decriminalized at the very least, so that possession of any specific drug is no longer something you can get sent to prison for. That's kind of the issue we're at. It's like, yes, meth and heroin and all that are really bad. But quite frankly, I don't care if someone has a baggie of heroin or cocaine for their own personal use. And I don't think that person deserves 10 years in prison if they get caught at a nightclub with a tiny little bag of cocaine. I really do not believe anyone should be going to prison for possessing a personal use of a drug. And if they want to go all the way to killing themselves with that drug, let them. Seriously, I 100% mean that, let them. If they want to off themselves on hardcore drugs or on alcohol or on cigarettes, that's their responsibility to themselves. If they feel that that's the best case scenario for them, okay. I do not believe anyone should be sent to prison for possession of personal narcotics. Period. So anyway, let's all do LSD and no one has depression anymore. As you've heard talks that the idea is being passed around, you think it would be a great idea since we can't just cut them off cold turkey. Haha, cold turkey. That's cigarette terminology. This allows a transitional phase. It allows younger people to not get on them and offer alternatives. That's what I would like. Ideally. Preferable situation is, of course, that we, stop. Like, we don't want people to be getting on drugs. We don't want people to be taking drugs. We don't want people to be smoking and drinking. We don't want teenagers as young as, 12 or whatever getting into this stuff, because they do. They absolutely do. And it's unfortunate. But, yeah, the difficulty of the situation is, fingers crossed, if we decriminalize all of these things and thus destigmatize them, hopefully, it will start, a major reason that teenagers get into doing drugs and drinking and smoking and all of that is because it's stigmatized. You're not supposed to do it. You're not allowed to do the drugs. You're not allowed to drink. So let's do it. Let's fucking go, man. Let's do it. Because they're tempted to break the rules. So if it's not against the rules, it will hopefully, fingers crossed, lose their interest. We can hope. The unfortunate situation is, though, even if we decriminalize all of the drugs, period. Again, I am completely pro-decriminalization of all drugs. Let's hammer that point in. I am 100% pro-decriminalization of all drugs across the board, worldwide sort of shit. And the unfortunate situation is that socially, even if we decriminalize them, socially we've still got that stigma to break down. We've socially still got a whole bunch of families who are going to be like, oh, may not be illegal to take meth anymore, but morally I don't want you having meth in this household. So you got that to contend with. Anyway, see that study on how psychedelic mushrooms actually help with depression? I heard about it. If you have a link, I'd love to read it. We won't talk about me growing up listening to your 12-year-old friends talk about getting blotto and screwing up their 90... Screwing... I need a bucket. Oh my god. Okay. We're good. Okay. Very pro-drug centers, such as the ones they have in other countries. You can try whatever you want in a safe environment with trained counselors, medical staff, and information. That'd be an idea. That would be an idea. It might dissuade some people, honestly. It might actually turn people away from it. It's cool, or you aren't cool if you don't try. Yeah, that whole thing with the fucking, peer pressure. That's the thing. Where am I from? I'm from Australia. Where are you from, Vita? Scientific American. Psilocybin treatment for mental health gets legal framework. Accept your fucking cookies. The Scientific American. This was published as of December 1st of this month. That's kinda crazy. Oregon made history on November 3, becoming not just the first US state to legalize psilocybin, but the psychoactive compound in magic mushrooms, but also the first jurisdiction in the world to lay out plans for regulating the drug's therapeutic use. Can we get rid of this? No, that made it worse. What'd you do? I wanted to... oh, that takes you back up to the top of the page. Fuck off. The next day on the opposite coast... where was I? The drug's therapeutic use. The next day on the opposite coast, Johns Hopkins University researchers published results from the first randomized controlled trial of treating major depressive disorder with synthetic psilocybin. I don't have this one. What do I have? I used to, honestly, I feel like I should say, I feel like I used to have major depressive disorder. I was very much super depressed pre-transition. And I've said this before, this is a nice little sentiment. I feel like transitioning has actually cured my depression. Can't really say for certain without a proper psychiatric diagnosis, but I do not feel depressed anymore. There's a fun fact for you. With synthetic psilocybin. Their study published in JAMA Psychiatry found 71% of patients experienced a clinically significant response, an improvement that lasted at least 4 weeks after treatment, and 54% met the criteria for total remission of depression. There you go. At the US federal level, psilocybin remains a completely prohibited Schedule I drug, defined by the Drug Enforcement Administration. There's the problem, right? Drug Enforcement Administration. As in, enforcing violence against people who happen to contain a little baggie of cocaine. As having no currently accepted medical use and a high potential for abuse. Literally any medication has a high potential for abuse. I could go and just pop every estrogen pill I have in there. I don't know what would happen, I feel like it'd make me a little bit sick, might vomit. But the reality is, like, literally every medical drug can be abused. Fuck the DEA, they'll kick down your door and take your wife. But the state-level ballot measure and positive study results broaden the legal circumstances and settings in which the potent psychedelic can be used for mental health therapy. Our goal was to move psilocybin out of the medical framework so it could provide access to anyone who might safely benefit, meaning to allow its use by counseling therapists and not just by doctors in a hospital, says therapist Tom Eckert, co-author of the Oregon Psilocybin Therapy Ballot Measure, which passed with more than 1.2 million votes, 55.7%. Although Oregon is not the first place in the US to loosen restrictions on psilocybin, the cities of Oakland, Denver, Ann Arbor, and Washington, D.C. voted in the past 2 years to effectively decriminalize the drug. It is the first to offer a framework for legal therapeutic use. This is very different from decriminalization, which only seeks to lower the penalties for possession. Again, I am pro-decriminalization. Eckert notes, we want to bring this therapy out from the underground and into safe therapeutic environments. How long is this? Dear God. Okay, it's not that long. We'll go through the whole thing. Where were we? Too fucking long. Hang on. If you had weed, you would not drink. Weed legislation has played a part in lowering suicide rates. You reckon? You think so? There are actually people who are pro-disease who abuse their antibiotics and stuff to strengthen bacteria. This was back in 2005, so hopefully no more people like that exist. Yeah. Such use will be tightly regulated, however, only licensed therapists and manufacturers will be allowed to grow the mushrooms or extract psilocybin from them, or to synthetically produce the drug, set up a psilocybin therapy center, or provide therapy. There will be no dispensary selling mushrooms for recreational use as exist for cannabis in California and 15 other states. If this situation, I need to clarify this right now. If there are dispensaries selling weed in the United States, if there are legal dispensaries, every single person in prison in the United States for possessing or distributing weed needs to be free yesterday. They need to be out of prison fucking now. There is no reason that they should be legalizing the distribution of marijuana as a commercial product and still keep people in prison who are in there for having distributed marijuana. There's no justification for it. Get them out of prison. Quite frankly, the whole situation with, like, the vast majority of people who are in prison for distributing marijuana are black. Or at the very least, not white. So the distribution and possession charges that put people in prison in the first place is an inherently racist system. Let's clarify that. Get them out of prison. Not free, kick out of prison, give them free housing and a fucking 20-kilo bag of weed from one of these dispensaries. People must be over 21 to receive the drug and may only consume it at a licensed facility with a certified therapist present. And Oregon will not be opening any legal psilocybin therapy centers until 2023 at the earliest, and the measure requires a 2-year consultation with lawmakers. Good lord! As the measure requires a 2-year consultation. The Oregon vote is the latest step in what many see as magic mushrooms' march to become the next marijuana, a natural therapeutic and mood-altering compound gaining mainstream acceptance in a regulated market. Since 2015, psilocybin retreats have been allowed to operate in the Netherlands, where dozens of them cater to affluent tourists. It's always the rich cunts. Even there, the drug exists in a legal grey area. However, psilocybin mushrooms are illegal, but truffles, clumps of the fungus's subterranean root-like filaments, are legal. Hang on. Acting like a cunt isn't going to make people respect you. That's true. That's true. You feel like the main reason... You feel like this is the main reason they are still there because they are a racist. Yeah, absolutely. It's a racist institution. And yeah, like, I may not be the same melanated skin color as they are. But it's like the most obvious shit in the world that anyone can comment on. Like, putting people in prison for possession or distribution is racist. That's not like a groundbreaking revelation. You know? The potential benefits of psilocybin, I don't know if it's psilocybin or psilocybin, LSD and other psychedelics were widely explored by psychiatrists in the 1950s and 1960s before such drugs were leaked from the lab and were embraced by the counterculture. A subsequent backlash led to a strict prohibition of legitimate research for the next 4 decades. Fuck me dead. People have been born and died in that time frame. But in recent years, a handful of dogged psychiatrists have revived the field. A Johns Hopkins 2006 double-blind study, meaning neither trial participants nor researchers knew if a subject was receiving psilocybin or a placebo, published in the journal Psychopharmacology. Fucking Christ, I need water. I'm going to take a quick break. Be right back. I'm going to get a drink. I need water. I need to hydrate. If you're seeing an ad, please consider subscribing to support the stream. I love your faces. I pressed the fucking button again! I swear to fucking God. I'm spitting everywhere. Swear to fucking God, I'm pressing the button. We'll get into the Minecraft is fascist thing in a minute. I promise. Don't worry. And I'm probably not going to stream for a whole lot longer. I didn't want this to be a very long one tonight, and I want to go to bed. Which I don't have at the moment. I don't have a mattress, so I've got to take this whole thing over here. I've got to take this whole mattress here. Which my cat is on top of, but he's like behind. You can't see him because he's sunken into the thing. We'll get into why Minecraft is fascist soon. It's more like what the player can do that's fascist. Anyway. There's the potential benefits of psilocybin. Where were we? We did this one. Demonstrated that psilocybin could give healthy volunteers experiences having substantial and sustained personal meaning. What is different about psilocybin compared to other mood-altering drugs or pharmaceuticals is the enduring meaning and belief changes that can occur. People feel reorganized in a way they don't with other drugs, says Johns Hopkins neuropharmacologist Roland Griffiths, lead author of the initial 2006 study as well as the latest one on depression. It's almost like reprogramming the operating system of a computer. Griffiths now leads the new $17 million Center for Psychedelic and Consciousness Research at Johns Hopkins Medicine. God's sake, the inside of my fucking nose is itching like crazy, dude. Pissing me off. Airtight, you're going to bed. How dare you? How dare you leave my stream? We might briefly touch on the Minecraft is fascist thing, and then I might end the stream shortly after. Because, yeah, I'm pretty tired. I want to get some sleep. Dozens of other scientific reports in the last 15 years have built on the 2006 study demonstrating psilocybin's helpfulness for a variety of mental health conditions. In the 2016 paper in the Journal of Psychopharmacology, Griffiths and his team found that more than 80% of patients with terminal cancer diagnosis experienced a significant decrease in depressed mood and anxiety after psilocybin combined with psychotherapy. In the same year, other researchers published the first study demonstrating that psilocybin's potential was to alleviate treatment-resistant depression that was not relieved by mainstream antidepressants. British researchers at Imperial College London described fucking Christ, I can't read tonight. Anyway, in the Lancet Psychiatry, the marked and sustained improvements in 12 patients suffering from this form of depression. This study, however, had no control placebo group. The latest randomized controlled trial from Johns Hopkins tested the drug in a double-blind study on 24 people suffering from major depressive disorder, which affects an estimated 300 million people worldwide. Good Lord! Good night, Jeff. Have a good one. Good night, Jeffrey. Good night. Have a bloody good one, friend. I think I'm wiping my makeup off. Oops. Alright, is that music too loud? Let me turn that down a bit more. Okay, let's keep going. How long has this got? Where are we? Okay, that's much more than I thought. I think you get the gist. That's the entire population of the US. Yeah, everyone in the United States is understandably depressed. Every single person in the United States is depressed. And they all need to just get on mushrooms. And that'll solve all their problems. Where was I? I had it selected, but I clicked off it. We were down here somewhere. Here, roughly 20% of Americans will experience this form of depression at some point in their lives. By comparison, treatment-resistant depression is estimated to affect fewer than 5%. Oh my god. Can you sign in blood? Yes, you can always. Always sign in blood. Okay, so this is just like, again, we're talking about the situation with decriminalization, and honestly, like, we need more scientific testing of this kind of stuff. Scientific testing of what the other drugs can do, and what's a better way to, deal with people who are distributing, people who are, possessing. You know, what's a better way to... I mean, I am pro... What's the term? I'm pro rehabilitation of anyone who is considered a criminal in the eyes of the law, right? I'm pro rehabilitation over incarceration. We don't need more punishments for people. We don't need people to feel like they are being... what's the phrase? We don't need people to feel like they're being punished for having done something wrong. We need to teach them to do better. So I am in favor of rehabilitation over any sort of punishment. Your mind is cursed. Let's say hypothetically that I read transcripts of Ben Shapiro videos in my underwear for money. And then you can, like, at some point in my media, there's a picture of me in my underwear as well anyway. Which was, like, posted the same day. Yeah, in a response to somebody else. You don't possess drugs. Drugs possess you. I'm not going to show that picture on stream, though. Blah. Alright. Yo. Let's think for a second. So where were we? Drugs. We're talking about drugs. Minecraft is fascist. We talk about how Minecraft is fascist. Well, I mean, it's not really. I was being ridiculous. I was being a little bit ridiculous. But quite frankly, Minecraft could very well go the route of fascism. It can right now. We all need to calm the fuck down about drug-related crimes. We do. We absolutely do. I personally, I see a lot of people. I've seen a lot of people who get incredibly worked up about the fact that other people do drugs or deal drugs. They get really bent out of shape about it. Like super bent out of shape about it. Like it's personally affecting them when it's not. Now, quite frankly, of course, you know, with regards to drugs, there are drug wars. There's a very violent underworld surrounding the drug culture, the drug economy, of course, and that's bad. A lot of people are dying or being mutilated or whatever in the name of drug wars. But on a grander scale, I think it's a good thing to decriminalize drug possession and drug distribution. If you're like a local dealer, you know, if you happen to have some bags of weed and you're distributing to your local neighborhood, I don't think you should go to prison for that. Someone at Subway likes me, I know. It's kind of crazy that that Subway liked my tweet. Subway, the social media Twitter account of the official brand with the Subway verified tick, actually liked my tweet saying I'm going to go and order a 30 centimeter sub. What sucks though is like they responded to it, and I didn't get any more likes on that tweet. Where is it? Yeah, here. I mean, I did get a few. Going to Subway and ordering a 30 centimeter sub. Subway, you know, responds, but I only got like 11 likes on it. That sucks, dude. Did I follow Subway? I'm gonna follow Subway because I didn't follow them before. Why not? Makes me wonder, actually. Let's click on their social media account. They're followed by OnlyFans, guys. So even their tweets don't even get that many likes. Here's a Twitter account with 2.3 million followers, routinely getting sub 200 likes on their tweets. Because it's all advertising. Nobody wants to like advertising. We'll get rid of this for now. Of course they're followed by OF. I think all those big companies would be following each other. Yes, I need more social media points so I feel validated. Okay, so Minecraft, yeah, it's fascist if you're fascist, realistically. In a digital sense. You know, Minecraft allows you to completely hoard all the resources of the world to yourself. and allows you the opportunity to exploit animals for your own benefit to massive, ridiculous degrees in completely inhumane circumstances. It allows you to take the only civilized cultures. Well, there's one that you can take advantage of. Or actually, no, you know what? Now that they've got the piglins, there's 2 civilizations that you can take over and take advantage of and absolutely exploit to get everything you want out of them while giving them none of the benefit. Like, you throw emeralds at them, but realistically speaking, hang on, let me fix this. You can farm those motherfuckers. And then the piglins, I haven't tried a piglin farming system, but generally speaking, there is so much you can do that is just blatantly, openly fascist about that game. Just being in perfect, complete totalitarian control, and no one else in the world is allowed freedom. It would be interesting to see. Yeah, fascism without consequences, which is the great thing about video games. You can get away with some reprehensible shit without any of the consequences, right? Good stuff. It would be interesting to see. What was I going to say? Fuck, I can't remember. It'd be interesting to see Minecraft add some more functionality to like villages or piglins or whatever. You, me, Katie, and Jeff. Yeah, we could do that. We gotta do that. We gotta do some more socialization, which is like a weird, gross, and scary thing to me, but we'll do it. We'll definitely do it soon. So yeah, that was basically how Minecraft is fascist. I don't really have any more details than that. I just wanted to say it to see if it would get a reaction, and it kind of did. It kind of did. I was wondering, do we want to go raid somebody though? Because I am pretty tired. I have been out for most of the. Well, yeah, I've been out most of the day. Honestly, I've been busy most of the day. Mario is fascist. I think like you could read into. You could definitely read into. What was I going to say? Quite a few video games and unpack their what's the thing I'm looking for? Unpack their political themes. That's it. The political themes. Oh, excuse me. Okay. Shall we raid somebody? Because I'm pretty much at the end of my tether here. Shall we go raid somebody? And tomorrow, I'm not sure what we're doing with our co-stream. We may be co-streaming with Calgar again on Ghost of Tsushima Legends. Didn't someone try to call Among Us Nazi? Probably. Let me have a look. The Nazis Among Us. I mean, there's stuff here, but I mean, if someone on Twitter or if there's a whole ass article, nothing that I can see that's recent and relevant. If you can find it, let me know, because that'd be pretty cool. That'd be interesting to see what somebody's thought process would be on that particular thing. Oh, by the way, I think I did this. Let me just quickly go back to this scene for a second. Look, I took out the thanks for hanging bit on this scene, and look, we got a vaporwave scene. I might actually animate this ground section so it's moving along there. There we go. Among Us Fascism Daily Dot. Let's have a quick look. Okay. We're off to a good start here. Yeah, I might animate this background and we might use this for some just chatting soonish. Okay. Here we go. It's consensual non-consent minus the sex. Among Us is blowing up. Blame fascism. I beg pardon. Admittedly, I am very good at silently killing people. Whenever I get the imposter role in Among Us, a 2D top-down multiplayer game about astronauts rooting out alien saboteurs on a spaceship or cloud city of some sort, I pick my victims carefully. I keep an eye on the map, sabotage key components from afar, see who joins the rest of the crew to fix the reactor or oxygen tanks, and then butcher the most isolated straggler I can find. When their body is inevitably found, I stay out of the conversation. Sometimes I'll even report the body myself just to throw off suspicion. Doesn't matter how I win, just that I do, although I take a particular delight in murdering the ones who try and fail to raise suspicion against me during meetings. Killing them has a certain kind of sadistic joy to it. It's a long article. Oh god. When does it get to the part where it's fascism? It's an opinion piece. Okay, here we go. Dividing, isolating, and picking off my fellow players fills me with glee in Among Us. The same thing is happening outside in the real world right now, too, and it's giving me chronic health problems. It's Among Us. There's barely anything in this game. Like, the Minecraft is fascist thing was a joke. Bit by bit, reactionary movements from the far right are creating an irreversible rift between Trump supporters and everyone else. Meanwhile, among center-left feminists, there's a growing puritanical, whorephobic, and trans-misogynistic movement obsessed with sexual purity and conservatism. A new proto-fascist reactionary uprising waiting in the wings. These things horrify me, so why do I enjoy... I don't want to read the rest of this article because in those first 3 paragraphs you've completely lost me. Where is the connection? Like, and I just... what? For some it may have the same appeal as Nazi porn. Broseph. Chill. The fuck? Holy fucking shit. I'm not gonna... Oh my god. No better example exists than the on-the-nose card game Secret Hitler. I've played that. Players are split into 3 groups. Fascist, liberals, and Hitler. Hitler wants to be elected chancellor, but he doesn't know who is or isn't a fascist. Did they pull a muscle with all that reaching? I like to incorporate some measure of political discussion into my video games when I'm talking about them, but this is just like, you have to, dude, please find a hobby. Please, like, whoever this is, please find a hobby. You are blowing my mind right now, not in a good way. Good God. Okay, I think I'm done with tonight's stream. Hope they got fit with all their mental gymnastics. Oh, fucking hell, dude. I don't even know. I can't even fathom at the moment. Read that in my own time. I'll bookmark it. I'll come back to it later. I'll put it in gaming news. It's kinda gaming. Oh, fuck. I don't have the patience tonight. I just don't. Alright, I'm looking at who's live right now. Who's streaming right now? Who could we talk to? I mean, who could we go to, I should say. Abby Snail. Yeah, I'm very slow right now. My reactions are not exactly groundbreaking. Have a suggestion. Who are you gonna suggest? I was gonna annoy Calgar. I was thinking Calgar. Pixel Mixel. Wait, the Pixel Smixel? Or Pixels Mixel? The really big, like, partnered 300 plus viewer? I mean, I could, but it'd be a bit weird. To raid someone of that size. Any particular reason why? Abigail, ha ha ha, cause I'm gay. Get it? I feel intimidated trying to raid someone of that size. Exactly the same kind of content. How so? Because I'm talking? Political discussions and such? My neck is itchy. My neck is fucking itchy and it's annoying the hell out of me. Do it? I would feel weird because, like, what if they have raids disabled? What if this person has raids disabled? I'd feel very, very... Yeah, this is the thing. This is why I tend to raid people around my viewer range or slightly above. I don't want to end up raiding somebody who's super big. You got raided recently. I mean, I have interacted with her on Twitter a few times. So there is a mild connection. We could try... this is going to feel super weird. But at least I follow her, at the very least. So we could do that. It's going to be unusual as all heck. But go say hi, go be polite. I don't know what she's doing at the moment. Maybe I'll get some ideas for what I can actually do with my own content. This will be super fucking weird. I've only rated bigger streamers, like super bigger streamers, like once or twice. So that's always, yes, super intimidating. So, do I get Abby mail? Yes. Absolutely. Maybe I should change this one to the thanks for hanging backdrop. I could do that, you know. I could go to the Vaporwave one. and I could just go and be like, bang. There we go. Thanks for hanging. Thanks for chilling. Thanks for being here. I can like sit over here. I am going to change some of my scenes coming up. We're gonna stick with this theme. We're gonna stick with this neon retro wave pixel art theme, but I am gonna add a few new elements over the next couple of weeks. For those of you who are out of the loop, I'm not gonna be live from the 31st onwards. I'm gonna do a New Year's Eve stream, and then I'm out of here until like the 10th. So get ready for a break. Here's my socials. Hit the socials. Do that thing. I am like so tired, dude. Have a fucking good one. I'll see you when I'm looking at you.
That's right, chat. That's a question I can answer. I'm a queen. And realize very quickly how wonderful I am. Rogue bitch, thank you for the raid. Which federal minister declared that they would not resign during the second wave of COVID-19 infections in Victoria? I feel like it was Maurice Payne. But then she ended up... Oh, no, it was Richard